I'm in Shenandoah National Park, and this is the parking area for the trail that takes you down to the Hughes River and the Corbin Cabin. Yep, there it is, my little red car. Here's the parking area right here. This is about mile marker 38. There's Skyline Drive, heading north. And I'm going to go across the road here, and there's a trailhead right there, Corbin Cabin Cutoff Trail. And we're going to drop down, like way down into Nicholson Hollow. And I'll probably take it all the way down to the Hughes River so we can see Corbin Cabin. And along the way, I'm going to look for some old homesteads. The elevation here is 3,100 feet. Well, I'm descending on this Corbin Cabin Cutoff Trail, and lots of mountain laurel right through here. This trail is really, really steep and rocky. It's going to be bad news coming back up. I think it's going to be about 1,000-foot vertical climbing, like a mile getting back up here. So, but anyway, here's what it looks like right now. I'm 6/10 of a mile into my hike. I'm down to 2590. This is a really steep part of the mountain here. We're doing a switchback on the trail because it's so steep. There's where I came from. And we're heading down there into the abyss. But the trail's taking us the wrong way for a while, so we can descend some. Up there, not sure if you can see it, but up there's Skyline Drive, where I came from. Maybe you can see it right there. Seven-tenths of a mile into my hike. I'm down to 2450, and I'm down to the headwaters of the Hughes River right here. Maybe you can hear it. So when you look on the map, you'll see the Hughes River has several branches at its headwaters. This is one of them. So the one that runs down through here. Right there's the trail. The mountain's still pretty steep here. And that's looking down into the hollow where we're going. So just going to keep following this on down into the hollow. .2 miles into my hike. I'm down to 2150 elevation, and I used coordinates off a like a 1939 map, and which got me close, and then I was able to see the ruins of this. This is Homestead A on my map when I do the map talk. So there's the corner of the build of the house right there, and it's up here a little bit above the headwaters of the Hughes River. Maybe you can hear it. It's flowing pretty good here. I'm down far enough on the mountain now. It's got some pretty good flow. And then right next to the house, you can see where they created this wall here with stone to sort of, it's almost like a driveway coming up in here. I'll get some still pictures. There's part of a culvert, old rusted out culvert. It's got some bullet holes in it. That's always nice. And then going that way, it looks like their driveway headed off in this direction, which would take you down to the rest of the Nicholson clan, down closer to the river. So that's where I'll go next. So I'll get some still shots here. And I repositioned my GPS point, so I've got an accurate coordinate now. I'll explain it on the map talk. I'm just a short distance past the homestead, and then here's the ruins of a stacked stone fence. There's looking down the top of it, probably a line of demarcation for the ruins of that house back there. Here's the other side of it, going down through here. It's right before, I see I'm going to have to cross over a little feeder stream here, so it's right before that. Here's another shot of that stone wall near Homestead A. I got the sun at my back now. The sun's really low in the sky right now. I mean, it's like the middle of November here. And then down that way are the headwaters. I'm just a little ways past the Homestead A, and I stepped off the trail to the right. You'll see it on my GPS track, because that's part of an old road or driveway. And then up there, I think I'm looking at more of a stone wall up there, so I'm just going to go up there and investigate that real quick. So yeah, that is an old wall there. I'm standing up on the old road right here. Those rocks you see right there are piled up on the low side of the road, and it's heading back that way through the briars and the brambles, and that is back in the direction of Homestead A. So it probably went past there on its way up the side of the mountain, I guess. This section of road's not on any map that I've ever seen. So I'm going to go over here and get a few still pictures of this stone wall, because it's probably 4 feet high over here. Let's go take a look. .5 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2140. I stepped off the trail to the right. I'm standing in what's left of the Nicholson family cemetery. I'll take a few stills. Maybe you can see that stone sticking up over there. There's one sticking up over there. I could see several of them. This one's a little different. This one is laying down. It's hard to read, but it looks to me like it says April 29th, 1895. Joe, I don't know. The rest of it I can't make out. But this is obviously a stone from 1895. .6 miles into my hike, I'm down to 2,100 feet. I didn't have this one marked on my map. This is just across the Hughes River from Corbin Cabin. I'll show you that later, but this one's collapsed. I believe this side of the river was Nicholson land, and the Corbin Cabin's over that way on Corbin property on the other side of the river. So anyway, this one's pretty collapsed in. I'll get a few still pictures. Over there's the Corbin Cabin. Down below is the Hughes River. Over there's that collapsed cabin. And I'm going to leave the trail here and bushwhack this way downstream on a compass bearing to see if I can get to the location of the Nicholson B homestead down here. Let's see if there's anything down this way. It's about 2/10 of a mile, so it's going to take me a little while to get down there. I don't know if camping's allowed here or not, but the trail's up that way. Corbin Cabin's over there. And I'll just do a 180-degree sweep here. Look at this. Oh, it's flat, it's open. The river's behind me. Maybe you can hear it running. So I'll mark it on my GPS. Starting to see a bunch of stacked stone. There's some there by that big tree. There's another pile over there. Another pile back there. Another pile back there. Here's another pile right next to me. There's another pile over there. There's another pile of rocks there. Another one over there. Another pile of rocks there. Let's see what else we can find back in here. There's another pile there. So there's a whole bunch of piles of rocks here. I'm getting close, I think. .9 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2,050 feet. And this is it right here. This is Homestead B on my map. There's the chimney, still standing. And here's part of the structure. So a pile of rubble. And maybe you can hear it, but the Hughes River's right down there. If I can find a way to get across the river, I might go across and then go back to Corbin Cabin on the other side just to do something different. Whoops, ow. Sorry about that, this prickly bush just got me. Anyway, sorry about that. I'll get some still pics and adjust my GPS coordinates, and then we'll see if we can work our way back to the Corbin Cabin. I'll look around and see if I see anything else laying around here. I'll tell you what, looking at that wall there, if that was one end of the house, and that chimney down there is the other end of the house, this was a pretty big house. Maybe this is where Aaron Nicholson lived. They called him the King of Free State Hollow. Working my way back upstream, back up to Corbin Cabin. There's the Hughes River right there. I really haven't found a good place to cross. If your balance is real good, you could probably go across on one of those blown down trees, but I'm not a big fan of that. That's Hughes River downstream, and the Nicholson place I just came from is down that way. .3 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2110, and here's the Corbin Cabin. It's been restored a couple of times, and you can rent that out from PATC, Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. There's no camping here. Down there's the Hughes River. And right over there is that first cabin, log cabin collapsed. And downstream about maybe two or a quarter of a mile, let's say, on the left bank is, near the left bank is the Nicholson homestead with the chimney. Well, look at this. Here's a new composting style privy. It's locked and it says privy for cabin renters only. That wasn't there a few years ago. There's the cabin right there. The old privy's down that way a ways, a few hundred yards, and it's one of the old smelly pit style privies. And look at this. Nobody around. You could probably just prop that door open and do your business and enjoy the scenery, which would be looking up this way. Oh, there's a stone wall you can look at. Look at that. Part of an old stone wall. The big chimney on the right is a fireplace for the cabin. It's one room there basically with a loft upstairs. And the chimney on the left, the smaller one, that's the kitchen. The lean-to part's a kitchen. 2.5 miles into my hike. The elevation here is 2,090 feet. I'm about 500 feet or so downstream from the Corbin Cabin. And I was looking at the old map, and it showed another homestead down this way, and I guess this was it, because those blocks are definitely were fit together, and it's in the right spot. So I'm going to call this Nicholson Site C, and I'll mark it on my map. And there's the river right there. And on the other side, just a little ways further downstream, is Site B with the tall chimney. You'll see this on my GPS track, but I'm standing on the opposite bank of the river from the chimney, and standing right here, I can see that this is where the road came down from there. Up that way's Corbin Cabin. It came down that way. See, that's way bigger than a trail. That was a road coming down here, and continued on down the side of the mountain that way to the east. But right here at this low spot is where it crossed over, and right over there is the chimney. I'm going to zoom in on it. Maybe, I don't have my glasses on right now, but maybe if I zoom in on it a little bit, you can see that chimney over there. So this is it right here. So really the easiest way to get over there, have to have some coordinates, but if you just follow the trails downstream from Corbin Cabin, when you get down here to this dip in the road, it comes down to stream level. Just cross over if you can, and then just go straight up, and there it is. .6 miles into my hike. I'm up to 2550. Corbin Cabin, and the rest of them are down there in the hollow next to the river. It's about 6/10 of a mile down there. I'm catching my breath because I'm old. And there's the stream. I'm getting ready to leave the stream, and kind of switch back on this switchback and go up that way, and then switch back again up to the top, up to Skyline Drive, up that way. My GPS tells me it's only about 4/10 of a mile, but it's, you know, that's straight line distance. I've got about 650 more feet to climb. This is a map of today's hike. The quadrangle name is Old Rag Mountain, 1994. And I went down into Nicholson Hollow looking for possible remains of several Nicholson cabins. This is Skyline Drive. And you park right here. If you're coming down from the north, There's a pull-off parking area here for maybe 6 cars on the right-hand side here. It's about mile marker 38. And there's 2 basic ways to get down into this area down here. One is this trail, which is the one I took. This is the Corbin Cabin Cutoff trail. Another way is using this trail right here, which is called the Nicholson Hollow trail. And you'll see they both meet up down here. So I parked here and came down this trail, and I'll show you the old map in a minute, but Site A was one of the possible sites of Nicholson family homestead. So I started looking around in here, and I did find this site. Then if you come down a little bit further off to the right, it says CEM. That's Nicholson Family Cemetery right there. And then still further down, almost down to the river, but not across it, still on the north side of the river. This little dot here, I drew that in. That's the site of a Nicholson cabin, log cabin, which is partially collapsed. Then I followed the north bank of this is the Hughes River down here. I followed the north bank over to a set of coordinates here, B, which is the site of another Nicholson family cabin. This one's got a decent amount of remains there, stone remains, including a chimney that's still standing. Then I came back, crossed over the river to Corbin Cabin. So the families that lived down here were the Nicholsons and the Corbins, mostly. And right here is Corbin Cabin. That's one of the few structures in the park that's still standing today. It's been updated a couple of times by Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. You can rent that out. And then on the south bank, I followed that down here a little ways to location C and found the remains of another structure right here. And then basically came back up the way I came, like this. So if you're interested in looking around if you want to see remains of old homesteads, this is a good area to hike in. Now the only problem is this up here is around 3,000 feet of elevation, and when you get down to here, you're down to 2,000 feet. So on your way back up, you've got a 1,000-foot climb. So this is like a 1,000-foot climb in like a mile and a half. So it's really steep. This way is almost as bad, but you're starting at a slightly lower elevation, so it's not quite as bad, but almost. Ended up being 4.4 miles and a total ascent of 1,260 feet. Now, before I sign off, let me just show you the old map. This is the old map. I think when I was hiking, I kept calling this a 1939 map, but it's actually a 1929. And this is the trail that I hiked, the same trail. And if you'll notice, this whole area down here is shown as being clear of trees. This white indicates that it was clear of trees. And this was Site A. Excuse me, the cemetery is not shown. This is Site A. The cemetery is not shown. This is the collapsed cabin. This is the Corbin Cabin. And this is the ruins of what I called Site C. And if you'll notice, if you go even further down the Hughes River, here's another site. I didn't bother to come come down here and take a look at this. So this is where I got the locations of these sites, is off this old map. And then I copied those locations onto this map. And that was the hike for today.